What's going on, guys? So today I'm going to do something a little different for you. I'm going to make a video today talking about what you can do and kind of try to give you tips about how to become a better fisherman. Now, all the things I'm going to say, they're my own opinion, so you can take them at that value, where these are things that I've noticed and I've really thought about, and knowledge I've gained through, my life of fishing, and then especially over the past year of fishing way more than I ever have. And now, what YouTube has opened up for me, where I'm fishing more and more almost every single week, and it's really taught me a lot of things. So I want to share these things with you, and maybe it'll help you, catch more fish, or just have more fun on the water and find more fish and really understand what's going on around you in the water, and hopefully it'll help you catch more fish too. Main reason we're doing this today, though, is because I'm having a lot of technical difficulties. If you follow me on Twitter, which you probably don't, because I got like 200 followers on Twitter, I tweeted out saying, camera's broken, trolling motor's broken, live well's broken, having technical difficulties. I am struggling, man. Like, camera's broken, my main camera, so we're using a replacement one. That's not a big deal. It looks very, very good, I think. But trolling motor, went out Monday morning and drove to my spot, dropped the trolling motor in, and the thing at max speed was spinning about this fast around. And it would not move me anywhere, and so I was like, you know what, I'm just going to try to fish without it. It's really not a big deal. I grew up fishing out of a little aluminum boat that didn't have a trolling motor, so all I would do was drift around. But when it's windy, man, and you got a lot of current, I was just getting blown in between docks and pushing off people's dock pilings and trying not to run into stuff. It was a struggle. So, fast forward to this morning, I was like, you know what, trolling motor's not working, no big deal. I'm going to bring the cast net, going to catch some live bait, and just anchor up and drift some live mullet out across a flat, or maybe I'll drift and throw it around bridges, or, there's a lot of things you can do with live bait. So I get out this morning, 7 a.m., live well is broken. So that didn't work either. So I've really been struggling to get out and fish and make some videos, but I want to make videos for you guys. So in the meantime, we're going to do something in front of the camera here while the boat's being fixed up and repaired. Some of you might be new into fishing, or maybe you're just really now getting into it and really being passionate about it, and you're having trouble figuring out a fishery. And I have a lot of people comment on YouTube. They say, I'm trying to figure out how to catch fish here, catch my first snook, and do this or that. And you guys know me, I'm all about using artificials. I am crazy about it, and I rarely use live bait. But when you're trying to figure out a fishery, live bait can be a very, very good thing sometimes, because, I grew up fishing in this area, so growing up, we only use live bait. And so now, what that does for me, or what it can do for you, is that you know where fish are in your area because you've used live bait. And if you put live bait in an area where there's a predatory fish, they're probably going to come and check it out. They might not eat it, but they'll come and check it out, and you'll see it. Maybe they'll chase your mullet, and other times they'll just hammer the crap out of it. And so using live bait, you know where these fish are. A good example is, growing up, we used to fish seawalls all the time. We just net a dozen mullet and sling a mullet right up against the seawall and let it sit there and just wait for a snook to come up and destroy it, or a big jack to come running at 100 miles per hour and grab it. And doing that, I kind of learned, all right, there's a lot of fish on these seawalls, man. And one day I was out with two buddies, and they were throwing mullet up by the wall, and they just wouldn't stay on the wall. They would get thrown right up there and instantly swim off. And so I knew there had to be a fish up there for them to be swimming off so quickly. So I picked up a topwater and I threw it up along the wall, and I twitched it a few times and just got hammered by a snook and caught that snook, and it was very, very cool. But in my mind, something clicked where I was like, crap, dude. Okay, I know fish are here willing to eat mullet, but why don't I just throw an artificial up by them and see if they'll eat that too? And that kind of became a whole thing where you guys see me. One of my favorite ways to catch fish is throwing topwaters along seawalls. It is a very, very killer way to catch big fish, man. And it's very effective to catch a lot of fish as well. And so that developed from, a knowledge of using live bait and seeing where these fish are, and then just transferring it over to, okay, well, what artificial can I use to imitate the way they're feeding on this seawall? And a topwater was the easy solution to that. Alright, step number 2, I'm going to try to make this kind of make like logical sense and how things kind of feed into one another. So you figured out where fish are and kind of get a little bit of an understanding of where to target fish, because you use live bait to kind of dial in a fishery. Using live bait's not necessary, but it definitely could speed up your process of finding out where specifically to target these fish. Step 2, make it simple, is pay attention to weather patterns, tide patterns, if that affects you where you live, tide and current, and the sun, whether it's, sunset, sunrise, all that good stuff. And think about when you catch fish, what the weather conditions were like, because fish are going to key in on different things on certain days. If it's a day where it's completely nasty and overcast, you could get away with throwing topwater all day. But if it's a perfectly calm, flat, sunny day, not a cloud in the sky, your topwater probably is not going to get sniffed at all. So take all of that into account. And if you live in an area where tide impacts how you fish, around where I live at low tide, there's no water up in the mangroves and there's no water around the seawalls. So if I go out in the morning or even the afternoon, whenever I go out, if it's low tide, I know, alright, there's no point of me going to try to throw topwaters around seawalls. There's no point to go and try to skip mangrove lines because there's not going to be water there. And so you can change how you fish each day depending on the weather conditions. A perfect example of that would be if I went out tomorrow morning and it was 80 degrees out and a light wind chop and it was high tide. First thing I would do is I'd pick up a topwater and I'd start slinging them around seawalls and hopefully hook up with the snooker jack along the seawalls. But this morning I went out and it was 55 degrees out and not overcast at all, really, just blue skies at 55 degrees. There is no point in picking up a topwater that day. So take mental notes or write it down about when you caught fish and what the weather conditions are like. And it's not just a random thing. There really isn't any coincidences. There's no just like random stuff. Obviously random stuff can happen, but it all kind of intertwines where, certain lures are going to shine in certain conditions, and you need to figure out what works best for your area and just take mental notes of what that weather is doing, what the sun's doing, what the tide's doing, and that's really going to increase your fishing ability and narrow down really what you should be throwing on certain days. You've kind of figured out where the fish are by throwing live bait, and you know what lure to throw during weather patterns. Third, though, what color of that lure do you throw, or what colors do you throw for different types of water? I get asked that a lot probably in the comments about, what color lure should I throw in this type of water? I'll try to make it pretty simple. In clear water, I throw very realistic presentations. I want it to look very realistic because in the clear water, they can really examine the heck out of that lure. And the only thing I probably don't throw in clear water that's not realistic looking is I throw those CUDA tubes, but that's just a different thing because that's about drawing power and the aggressiveness of the fish you use that for. And if you see when I'm throwing the CUDA tubes, I get hundreds of follows but only a few strikes, and that's just kind of how the tube works. But in general, clear water, realistic presentations work very, very well for me. So that's like live target swim baits, like the really realistic mullets. I use the artificial shrimps, but when I'm in clear water, I throw either like the little night glow color or the near clear or like a glitter color, because all those things look realistic for the most part. So when I'm back in the river now, I like to throw things that are kind of dirty colored but still a flash to them. So I throw a lot of root beer and chartreuse combos, and that worked really well because the chartreuse, it kind of draws fish in. It has a little more drawing power than just a regular root beer. But bait fish that spend all their time back in stained water, they take on the color wherever they are. You throw a cast net and you catch a mullet up by the inlet, it's probably going to be very silver and very, very white. If you threw a cast net way back in the river and caught a mullet, it's probably going to be like gray and black colored. And fish take on the color of wherever they're at. And the same thing for predator fish. If you catch a snook in the backwater, it's going to have a very black and gray coloration to it. It's going to have a black back and really gray sides. But if you catch one up in the inlet, it's going to be almost silver and white. So think about that. Back in the river, I like to throw stuff that has darker colors to it, but also still splash to it, if that makes sense. So I'll throw miridines because They have a dark color pattern, like a dark greeny, but then they also flash a lot when you twitch them. Shrimp back in the river, I will throw gold glitter and night glow because they stick out very well, but they still have flash to them, and that's kind of easier for them to find. And something I throw a lot now that I never really threw before is I throw that Gold Digger Spool Tech a lot because it's a darker color. You know, the gold's not a bright color, but it sticks out in the water very well. So, backwater, darker colored baits that have flash to them. Clear water, I like to throw very realistic looking baits. Alright, the last thing I'm going to talk about really is a few things combined into one. And the first part of it is have a plan when you go out fishing. And, you know, I don't mean you have to be like, we're going to catch fish like this, and then we're going to do that, and we're going to hit this spot, and we're going to do that. You can, if that helps you stay on track, but having a plan kind of helps you stay focused and helps you fish more efficiently. And, you know, if you go out in the morning and you say, alright, I want to fish bridges and I want to catch some snook underneath bridges, that's the plan for a day, and that's what we're going to do. It's a good thing, and it helps you kind of keep on track. But a really important thing about making plans is be willing to be flexible. You know, you don't want to beat a dead horse and go out there and be like, all right, we're going to catch fish on bridges, and go out there and, you know, you fish 2 hours and you don't get a single bite on a bridge. Listen to your instincts and say, all right, the bridges aren't working. I need to give up on that and try something different. You need to be willing to be flexible. And that's why a lot of my videos, you know, the intro ends up not even correlating with what I end up doing because I have to change my plans a lot. Where, you know, the night before I go fishing, I say to myself, okay, tomorrow morning I'm going to go out and I want to see if I can catch some snook underneath docks. And I go out and I fish for 2 hours and I only catch one fish underneath the dock, or I don't catch any fish. You need to be willing to make changes to catch fish. So don't be afraid to kind of go back on what you said, where you're like, okay, I'm going to fish a bridge, I'm going to catch snook. If the weather conditions aren't permitting, or if they're just not biting about it, call an audible, make a change. Don't be afraid to change up how you're fishing just because you said this is how you're going to catch your fish. Alright, second part of that is don't be lazy. One of the most common things people say to me all the time when I take them out fishing is they kind of laugh at me or make fun of me is that I change lures every like 10 minutes. Sometimes it's too much, sometimes it's good. Because in my mind, if I'm not getting bites, it's not that the fish aren't there, the fish are there. It's that they don't want to eat what I'm throwing. So, you know, I'll pick up a Mirrodine and throw it for 20 minutes or whatever. If I'm not getting bit on it, that thing's coming off and I'm tying something different on. So don't be lazy, because I know a lot of people, when they fish, they'll have a X-Wrap on or whatever, and they'll be throwing the X-Wrap and they're not getting any bites on. Like, man, the X-Wrap's just not working today. It's like, alright, then change it. Then take it off and put something different on. They're like, oh no, I don't feel like it. It's like, don't be a bum. Don't be lazy. Just change your lure if you're not getting bites. And sometimes that change is a very much needed thing, and it's going to trigger a bite and get you fish. And so what I like to do is when I go out, I'm going to run through lures and just see what they're biting. And then when I catch that fish or I get that bite on that lure, I'm sticking on that one and seeing if I can catch fish on it. You know, sometimes it's just a temporary thing where, you know, you're pitching docks or whatever, and you're throwing a Mirrodine around the docks, and you catch one snook on it, like, alright, this works, and you throw it for an hour and don't catch another one. Cut that sucker off, try something again. Maybe it's changed, maybe the tide has changed, maybe the weather's changed, and they want to eat something else. Sometimes it's good to grind it out if you have confidence in a bait. Like for me, a artificial shrimp, I could throw that thing all day, even if I'm not getting bites, because I know it works. If you have a confidence bait, that's okay to keep throwing that. But if you're trying to find fish, don't be afraid to change it. Don't be lazy about it. One thing that I kind of haven't even said, but it kind of goes apart with everything I said, is a good thing to do is keep a fishing journal. And now, I don't personally write everything down I do, but because of these videos, I keep a journal of everything I do, where I look back and I say, okay, this is what I did then, this is how the weather was here, and that's going to help you correlate everything that I've been talking about. Is by writing it down, you're going to know, okay, this is what I should use in these weather conditions, this is what I should use this time of year. And so keeping a fishing journal is going to really help you piece together all the information that you gather while you're fishing. Last thing is get out of your comfort zone, man. Don't be afraid to try weird, goofy things. You know, don't throw just what I throw because that's what I'm throwing. Don't throw just what, you know, John or Peric or those guys are throwing for bass because that's what they're throwing. Throw what you want to throw. You know, it's a good thing to try what we're doing. Maybe it'll work for you. But get out of your comfort zone. Try new things. You know, this whole thing lately that I've been doing a lot where I've been throwing like bass jigs and deep diving crankbaits, and I did a video throwing an Alabama rig. It didn't start out like, I wasn't like, oh, wouldn't it be so funny if I caught a snook on a bass jig? I was like, you know what, I think it'd be cool. Let's try something different. People always throw swim baits or like, small swim baits and shrimp and stuff like that for snook. Why not use some bass tactics and see if it works on snook? Don't be afraid to try new things, because a lot of times it'll surprise you, and that's what's going to work. And lately I've been on a pretty decent jig bite with bass jigs for snook, and I've kind of come to the conclusion where, the artificial shrimp work crazy, crazy well, and I catch a lot of fish on them, but I've been throwing the bass jigs. It's kind of up the size of the fish I'm catching from docks. I might not catch as many, but they're a little bit bigger fish. So it's very, very cool. Don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone. Try new things, because that's what's going to make you a better fisherman, is trying different things and reaching out from what you're used to. Don't just go out and throw an artificial shrimp every single day and say, I'm happy with what I'm catching. It's a lot of fun, and I struggled with that for a while, is that every single day when I went out and fished, I would throw top water in the morning, and then when the sun came up, I would take it off and I'd throw a DOA shrimp underneath docks. And it works very, very well to catch fish. But moving on to better things and trying new things will help you catch more fish, get out of your comfort zone, and really understand the fish you're targeting and the fishery in general a lot more. Alright guys, that is it. I hope some of these tips and advice helped you, because these are just things that I've learned over my experience of fishing. And obviously it's not everything you need to know about fishing. There's no way I think you could ever cover that in a single video. But these are just kind of a few mental things that you can do that have helped me become a better fisherman. And I want you guys to comment below, what have you guys learned about fishing? What are some tips that you could say about fishing? Because I don't want this to be about me, I want this to be a collection of fishermen coming together, fishermen and adventures, whatever you're into, Write below what is something that you've learned about fishing that could help you, or tips that you've learned. Maybe it's from watching my videos, maybe it's from watching other people's videos, or things that you've learned on your own. Maybe it's stuff that could help other people who are watching and read the comments, stuff that could even help me. I think it's very, very cool to make this a community, not just about, hey, look at my stupid face talking to the camera. Write what has helped you become a better fisherman and a better outdoorsman, and leave it below. I appreciate you guys very much. Thanks for watching. You guys rock.